Overlooking the paddock here at Churchill Downs, a good view from on high of the people and horses in the paddock prior to the Kentucky Derby. And for only the 5th time in Kentucky Derby history, the first time since Smarty Jones won it in 2004, as Pioneer of the Nile walks by. We will have a sloppy track. And here's a good look at the track. It hasn't rained any during the afternoon hours since the races began, but enough rain overnight and this morning to make the track still sloppy. And we understand, Gary, they have sealed the track. Now, tell us what that means.
Well, it's tough to really get a tight seal on this racetrack when it's got as much moisture in it as it does. It's not as windy today as it was yesterday. There's not, it's much cooler, so this track didn't dry out as quickly as it did yesterday. What they've done is what we call a float. They've floated this track just to smooth it out, even it out, but these horses are still getting into the ground, probably 2 inches. There's still a nice cushion in it. They're using some old-time light equipment on here. The tractors, they're not as heavy as some of the new tech, high-tech tractors and equipment you see at some of the other racetracks, as well as that float that's behind there. Those are some 50-pound sandbags that are just put on top of two-by-fours, believe it or not. And what that's designed to do is squeeze as much moisture out of there as it can and just smooth out the surface.
But I've heard trainers and maybe jockeys too say that once they seal it like that, it becomes harder. Is that your experience?
Well, as I say, when they seal a racetrack, they sealed the track last night, and they do that with heavy equipment, rollers, actual rollers, steam rollers like you would see when people are paving a road. And then they come out and just squeeze this stuff out as the day goes on. But they haven't done anything different.
And the jockeys have been summoned from the jockeys' room. They'll go down the escalator now to the paddock where they'll meet with their trainers and get the final instructions, although most of the strategy, Mike Smith with a little acknowledgement, most of the trainers and jockeys have already discussed their strategy, of course, in the days leading up to the Derby itself. But any adjustments? There's Kent DeSormo, 3-time winner of the Kentucky Derby, including last year on Big Brown. And what are your emotions at this point as you look at Garrett Gomez?
Right now, you've gotten through everything, and it's a relief to be able to walk out there and finally get it over with. Garrett Gomez right there, that's the look of an eagle.
Got his game face on, doesn't he?
He has won everything in his career. He wants a Kentucky Derby, and that is the game. That is his game face right there. As they're walking, all these people, a majority of them are asking for autographs. He's looking forward. He doesn't want to get sidetracked with signing one. It's not playtime right now. It's game time.
And what about nerves? Any apprehension, any butterflies?
You've got butterflies, and if you don't have some butterflies, there's something wrong with you. I think you need that to help you perform at the highest level. As soon as he gets on this horse, the butterflies are going to go away. He's going to get a peaceful feeling. You walk out there, within 20 seconds, you know if you've got a good chance of winning the Kentucky Derby, if you're going to be an actual participant in the final 100 yards or so, or if you're just going to have one of the best seats in the house.
Now, if you're racing in the Derby for the first time, do you get that calm feeling? Are you still nervous, and can the horse sense that?
I really think that it takes a Derby or two to where you understand what this whole process is. It's not just about riding the race. It's about handling the nerves and everything that's required of you in the weeks and then the minutes leading up to the Derby, from interviews. I mean, this is our sport's biggest moment right here. You want to contribute to it, but there becomes a fine line. How many interviews do you want to do where you start losing focus? But all of that has to be taken into consideration, and the guys that haven't done it before, they sometimes make that mistake.
Look at that mass of humanity, too. That unsettles a lot of horses, but I haven't seen anything happen in the paddock. It was interesting that Todd Pletcher mentioned Dunkirk had been very calm. That's sometimes a problem with him.
Dunkirk, he was a picture as he stood out just before he entered the tunnel, and I saw number 4, Advice, just right there in the center of your picture, right-hand side of the picture, in the gold saddle towel. He's normally a handful, and he was a handful before he went into the paddock. He looked like something had agitated him a little bit. That's just him, and I'm surprised he's being as quiet as he is down there on the racetrack, or in the paddock here. I'll be anxious to see what he looks like as they start to play My Old Kentucky Home, because it's a roar.
Pioneer of the Nile just going by. There's no way really you can prepare the horses for this mob scene in the paddock. Trainers bring them over during the races to school them, as they say, to give them a practice run, but you just can't duplicate the scene of the Derby itself. Let's go to Mike.
All right, thanks, Tom. With Kelly Breen, and Kelly was just giving Joe Bravo some last-minute instructions for Atomic Rain, and also trains Westside Bernie. Kelly, it's unbelievable that you've got 2 horses in this race.
It's surreal. It's great. We started out with 10 3-year-olds this year. We get 2 of them here. It's unbelievable, and it's great to be here, and the people in Kentucky to see this crowd. It's unbelievable. It's awesome. It's great.
You really seem to be enjoying it.
Yeah, you know. It's kind of like we're walking up here, and it's like the old Roman gladiators, and we're ready to go to battle.
So, all right, well, good luck, Kelly.
Thank you very much.
Let's go to Kenny Rice for a report.
All right, thank you very much, Mike. Desert Party last year, the Godolphin stable paid $2.1 million for him as a 2-year-old. That was the biggest price last year. Sheikh Maktoum has won everything in the world except the Kentucky Derby. Sir, you're coming into this race. How do you feel about Desert Party?
Well, I think, first of all, I'm very happy to be here and to see this beautiful crowd and beautiful country and a great race. And I think Desert Party is a good horse, but, you know, we don't know how to compare it with the horses here, but better than the one we brought before.
What would the Kentucky Derby mean to you?
It means a lot. I mean, a great race, and everybody wants to win it. They've been, for ages, people trying to win it, but we are going to concentrate now and come more often here.
Good luck, sir. Thank you.
Sir.
Sheikh Mohammed, who is trying for his first Kentucky Derby. Let's go to Tom.
I think the fact that he is here at Churchill Downs says something about what he thinks of his chances. He wants desperately to prove that you can take horses from America to winter in Dubai and race there to prepare for the Derby and come back and win the Roses. We'll see if he succeeds today with Regal Ransom and Desert Party. The big crowd at Churchill Downs in anticipation of the horses making their appearance on the track. Now in the paddock, here's the command to Riders Up.
Riders up!
So Westside Bernie, #1. There goes Musket Man. Mr. Hot Stuff, John Velasquez, getting a leg up finally.
And John Velasquez looking for his first Kentucky Derby. He thinks there's one out there. Maybe this is the one today. He'll be flying late in this race.
Here's the favorite, Frisian Fire. Gabriel Saez on the Larry Jones trained favorite at 7-2. That's Papa Clem.
Papa Clem, he had an unusual blowout the other morning, going in 34 flat 2 days before the Kentucky Derby. Unusual move, but not for Gary Studi. He does that with all of his horses before a race.
#10, Regal Ransom, one of the Godolphin horses. There's Chocolate Candy, late closer under Mike Smith.
Chocolate Candy was very relaxed on his walk over here. I watched him. He looked great.
And there is the sentimental favorite, General Quarters. What a moment it must be. Again, just Tom McCarthy, imagine his emotions, chasing the dream for 50 years, 75 years old, and giving a leg up to his jockey, Julien Laperoux, who's already had 3 winners today, and sending him out to the racetrack for the Derby. What a moment. There's Desert Party, the second Godolphin horse of Sheikh Mohammed. And Dwayne Lucas trains Flying Private, who's the 20 horse ridden by Robbie Alvarado as he makes his way toward the track. And now that wonderful, sentimental, special Derby moment, the call to the post and the playing of My Old Kentucky Home.
Ladies and gentlemen, the management, staff and horsemen of Churchill Downs proudly present the 135th running of the Kentucky Derby, presented by Yum Brands. Please rise and sing along as the University of Louisville Marching Band plays My Old Kentucky Home.
so the big crowd and the band playing Unnerved, Mr. Hot Stuff advice and Hold Me Back just a little bit. And here are the horses for the Kentucky Derby. Number 1, Westside Bernie, ridden by Stuart Elliott, who guided Smarty Jones to the Roses. Owners George and Lori Hall. Trainer Kelly Breen also have Atomic Rain in the field. This colt was second in the Wood Memorial. Number 2 is Musket Man. Ibarcoa chose to ride this colt over General Quarters. Irish-born trainer Derek Ryan says Musket Man will outrun his sprinter's pedigree, and he has won 2 stakes over a mile, the Tampa Bay Derby and the Illinois Derby. Number 3, Mr. Hot Stuff. It's the first time in 63 years that one owner has had 3 in the Derby, and Windstar's 3 right in a row in the gate. This colt, Mr. Hot Stuff, 3rd in the Santa Anita Derby, a full brother to Colonel John, who was 6th in the Kentucky Derby last year and winner of the Travers. Number 4, Advice, 1 of 3 trained by Todd Pletcher, and like Mr. Hot Stuff, just figuring out what race. Made a bold move from last to win the Coolmore, Lexington, and Keeneland, but both his wins have been on synthetic tracks. Number 5, Hold Me Back, named for one of the favorite sayings of Windstar's Kenny Trout, trained by Bill Mott, the all-time leader at Churchill Downs. Winner of the Lane's End off a 4-month layoff, then 2nd in the Bluegrass, but 5th in his only start on dirt. Number 6, the favorite, Frisian Fire. Like Larry Jones, jockey Gabriel Saez hopes to put the 8 Bells tragedy behind him, but it's been 7 weeks since Frisian Fire won the Louisiana Derby, and he's never run past a mile and a 16th. Number 7, Papa Clem. That's the name his grandchildren had for the late Clement Hirsch, prominent in California racing and breeding, and the father of owner Bo Hirsch. Papa Clem left California to run 2nd in the Louisiana Derby and then to win the Arkansas Derby, and he is a little stirred up by all the hoopla before this race. Number 8, Mind That Bird, the $9,500 yearling purchase, who is the first graduate of the Sunland Park Derby to make it to the Kentucky Derby. He's won 4 races, but all on synthetic surfaces. Number 9, Joining the Dance, Rashard Lewis of the Orlando Magic, one of the owners of this colt, who has only a maiden win in 8 starts, 2nd in the Tampa Bay Derby, 5th in the Bluegrass. He does have early speed. Number 10, Regal Ransom from Sheikh Mohammed's Godolphin, held off stablemate Desert Party to win the UAE Derby in Dubai. Godolphin has had 5 previous Derby starters, their best finish, China Party, 6th in 2000. Number 11, Chocolate Candy. Irony in the name, as he was bred and is owned by the diet guru Jenny Craig. 4 wins in 9 starts, including the California Derby, then 2nd in the Santa Anita Derby. Number 12, General Quarters, Tom McCarthy's Cinderella horse. How can you root against a 75-year-old living his dream after a troubled trip in the Tampa Bay Derby? Had a solid win on Polytrack in the Bluegrass Stakes. 13, I Want Revenge, scratched. 14, Atomic Rain, foaled on this day, May 2nd. He's the 2nd Hall-owned and breed-trained colt. 1 win in 7 starts, 4th in the Wood Memorial. Number 15, Dunkirk, Todd Pletcher trained, budding star who has attracted attention ever since topping the Keeneland sale at $3.7 million. It's been 1882 since an unraced 2-year-old won the Derby. He has only 3 starts, his only loss, a 2nd to Quality Road in the Florida Derby. 16, Pioneer of the Nile, the name of play on the Egyptian heritage of owner Ahmed Zayat. And the odd spelling? Well, thoroughbred names are limited to 18 letters and spaces, so they had to sort of cram it together. He was best in the West. He's won 4 straight graded stakes, including the Santa Anita Derby, never on dirt. 17, Summer Bird, a deep closer who, like Dunkirk, has only 3 starts, did not race at 2. First Derby for jockey and trainer. This colt was 3rd in the Arkansas Derby. 18, Nowhere to Hide, trained by Nick Zito, 2-time Derby winner. This colt was the last horse in on graded earnings. He's been 4th in his last 3 starts, including the Illinois Derby. Number 19, Desert Party. Godolphin paid the top price for a 2-year-old last year, going to $2.1 million for this colt, who won the Sanford Stakes on a muddy track at Saratoga last year, then went to Dubai for 3 races, 2nd in the last of those, the UAE Derby. And number 20, Flying Private, trained by Wayne Lucas, whose 42 Derby starters are the most in history. He's won the race 4 times. Flying Private, only 1 win in 10 starts, 5th in the Arkansas Derby. And that's the field of 19 for the 135th running of the Kentucky Derby, over a mile and a quarter. Back for the race in a moment.
If the Kentucky Derby is a day for hope, plenty of questions surround the hopefuls today. Could it be Hold Me Back, ridden by 3-time Derby winner Kent DeSormo. Last year, he won aboard Big Brown. Will today bring Derby victory number 4. It's Bob Baffert's 11th trip to Churchill Downs. Will Pioneer of the Nile bring the Hall of Fame trainer his 4th Derby win? Then there's the pair of long shots, General Quarters, and the retired school principal who owns and trains him. Can 75-year-old Tom McCarthy win in this, his first Kentucky Derby? What does fate have in store for Larry Jones? The man who lost 8 bells last year, now entering what he says will be his final Derby with Frisian Fire. As ever, many compelling stories at Churchill Downs, and many questions to go with them. The answers are now just moments away.
Well, Tom, they've been running the Kentucky Derby since 1875, of course, but since 1924, the winner's trophy has been in this Gold Cup style, 14-karat gold, and soon enough, some owner will be hoisting this trophy as the winner of the 135th Kentucky Derby. Tom?
All right, Bob, and who that owner will be is still a question mark, and the fans have had trouble making a favorite, but no question everyone's sentimental favorite is Tom McCarthy and his 1-horse stable acquired for $20,000. Bob Baffert, can he win his 4th Kentucky Derby? His best chance since 2002 with Pioneer of the Nile. Pletcher has 3 going to the post, hoping to win his first Derby ever. Will it be the expensive horse Dunkirk, who brought 3.7 as a yearling, 3.7 million? The Studies hope that they have a little divine guidance with Papa Clem. Gary Studi, the trainer, Bo Hurst, the owner. And Donna Brothers is out on horseback. And Donna, we watched some of them spooked a little bit in the post parade and coming onto the track for the first time. Any problems since they've warmed up?
No, Tom, I wouldn't say any problems. The 3 Mr. Hot Stuff you mentioned, he got a little riled, and he stayed a little riled. He settled down some, not as much as you'd like to see. Papa Clem, who was acting up in the post parade as you were going through it, kind of continued to walk, on his toes through the post parade and jump around a bit. The couple horses that surprised me by remaining pretty quiet are Desert Party. I mean, this is a horse who's been training in the desert. He comes here in front of 130,000 people and looks pretty collected. And I got to say, Pioneer of the Nile looked pretty good. He got a little hot. I asked Garrett if he's normally like that in California, and he said, yeah, just a little lather on his neck. That's about normal for him.
Donna, I looked at Desert Party before the UAE Derby, and it is unusual because he got hot that night, and it was not a hot night over there. There were a lot of people, so do you think that could have prepared him somewhat for today's crowd with the large crowd they had over there that night?
It must have, because he has not even broke a slight amount of sweat right now, Garrett. Gary, not at all.
There's Regal Ransom going into the gate. The jockeys with multiple layers of goggles now. They'll pull them down as they get soiled so they have a clear vision. And Donna, one quick word. What about the condition of the track?
The track's muddy, but Gary, you've ridden plenty of races here. You know how it is. It's listed as sloppy, but it's almost what we would call, Gary, wet fast, and you know what I mean by that.
I know exactly what you mean by it. That's what we were talking about with that float that was going over. So they've got as good of conditions as you can have with as much moisture as is in it.
All right, 19 horses will go 1.25 miles for the 135th Kentucky Derby, a purse of $2.1 million at stake as Pioneer of the Nile enters the starting gate. Frisian Fire is still the favorite at 7-2. Pioneer of the Nile now being backed out and then goes back in with Garrett Gomez. There's number 18, Nowhere to Hide. And now for the call of the 135th Kentucky Derby, let's go atop the stands and join Tom Durkin.
And there is Desert Party breaking from that post position number 18. Last to load will be Flying Private. Much of the speed here is going to be coming from the middle of the gate. Joining the dance, Papa Clem, Regal Ransom. Frisian Fire's got some early speed too. In the gate. And they're off in the Kentucky Derby. And it's joining the dancers racing for the lead. Musket Man has some early speed on the inside. Here's Regal Ransom with some speed as well. Beneath the Twin Spires the first time. Regal Ransom and joining the dance will vie for the early lead. Pioneer of the Nile is right up there. And then it's Papa Clem down toward the inside. He's now fourth. Desert Party forwardly placed fifth on the outside. Flying Private is sixth. Freezing Fire in and among horses is now seventh. Musket Man is eighth. Dunkirk is ninth on the outside. Then farther back down on the rail, that is Atomic Rain, running in the 11th position, 2 lengths back, and General Quarters is now 12th. Nowhere to Hide is 13th on the outside. Westside Bernie is now down toward the rail, and then on the outside, at the back of the pack, beginning to move up now, is Hold Me Back. Advice is also right there toward the back of the pack, along with Chocolate Candy, Summerbird. Advice, the last of them all, is Mr. Hot Stuff. So down the back stretch run, or even well behind the rest of them, is Mind That Bird. So down the back stretch run, and joining the dance, an impudent long shot leader here, 50-1, taking the field through an opening half mile that was strong, 47 1/5 seconds. Regal Ransom is third. On the outside, Pioneer of the Nile. Now Garrett Gomez asking him for a bit more. He's right there. Third on the outside, Desert Party is now fourth. Hold Me Back fifth toward the inside. Papa Clem threads his way through horses. From sixth now, Musket Man is now seventh. Chocolate Candy is beginning to come alive now, and he's eighth on the outside. Then down toward the rail, it's Advice as the field turns for home. Top of the stretch, it's still joining the dance with a tenuous lead. Regal Ransom and Pioneer of the Nile strikes the front just outside the 8th hole. Musket Man is coming hard down the center of the track, and Papa Clem's right there too. Down toward the inside, coming on through. That is Mind That Bird now is coming on to take the lead as they come down to the finish. And a spectacular upset. Mind That Bird has won the Kentucky Derby. An impossible result here. And a three-way photo for second among Musket Man, Pioneer of the Nile, and Papa Clem.
Calvin Bo Rail has done it again. Calvin Bo Rail, that's what they call him at Churchill Downs for his penchant for coming through on the inside. We saw him do it with Street Sense, and here we saw him do it on Mind That Bird in the final strides, exploding through on the rail to pull a monumental upset at 50-1. 50-1, Mind That Bird and Calvin Burrell with a huge upset, the second biggest upset in Derby history. He won the Oaks yesterday on Rachel Alexandra, just looking around for somebody to come at him, winning by over 20 lengths. Today, he explodes in the final 16th of a mile, coming through on the inside to get the victory. Wow.
Maybe this is why they didn't run Rachel Alexandra in the Derby. He knew something none of the rest of us did. All the contenders were right there coming into the stretch. Nobody knew where Calvin was on Mind That Bird, did exactly what he did with Street Sense.
Donna.
Calvin, oh my God.
I love you, sweetie.
You won the Oaks and the Derby. You just said I love you to who?
My mom and daddy.
Who are no longer with us.
I was doing you. Oh, Lord. I could only be here just to see what I accomplished in my life.
Calvin, I can't imagine how proud they would be of you. What's it mean to you to win your second Kentucky Derby in 2 years?
It's unbelievable. It's been a long, long road, but it's paying off, baby.
Now, we talked earlier, and I said if you could ride Rachel Alexandra in this race over this horse, you might have taken the filly. Now, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I can't knock him down. He did it for me today. I mean, I just took him back, rode a Street Sense race, like Mr. Carr told me how to ride my horses, and taught me, and it paid off today.
Tell me about your trip. Did you make it up the rail like you always do?
Come clean up the fence the whole way. I mean, had a good trip. Got to stop maybe one time going around a turn. But after that, it was awesome, you know.
At what point did you realize you were going to win the Derby?
I knew I was going to win it by the 3/8 pole, baby. If I could get through and just find my way through, and, you know, it was Kitty board the door from there. I mean, and he's such a little horse, you know, but when I kept asking him, he kept getting closer to him, and I said, God, it's like, he's going to get here. And then when I got to the 8 pole, the horse in the front come off. And then I clucked at him one more time, he went in there, you know. They were going pretty quick, though, I think.
Calvin, I couldn't see the first part of the race from where I was. How far back were you in the first turn?
It was pretty far. I must have been about 15, 20 lengths back, you know, because I was about 7, 8 lengths back from the horse in front of me, and then they were all bunched up, you know, Donnie.
The whole time you felt like you had plenty of horse?
Yes, ma'am. A lot of horse.
Okay, so the million-dollar question, you know, for $100,000, they could supplement Rachel Alexandra and run in the Preakness of the Belmont. What would you do then?
No, my man said yesterday we're not going to do that, so I'm not worried about that, Donnie.
That's the least of your worries right now.
Yes, ma'am.
Calvin, go enjoy another Kentucky Derby win. Tom, another upset and another very, very happy Calvin Burrell.
The emotion of Calvin never gets old, does it? Genuine emotion, winning the Oaks and the Derby. This is a horse that cost $9,500. $9,500 this horse cost. And off with the helmet from Calvin Burrell. And he drove up in a trailer pulled by a pickup truck by his trainer, Benny Woolley, who's in the race for the first time.
Yeah, he hauled the horse himself here. And I mean, just this whole story is something that we're going to all have to look back at now and reassess it, because he kind of got left out of the picture here. He was fourth in the Sunland Derby in New Mexico, Sunland Park. Had enough money to get in here, but I mean, that was a race that was not even a graded race, and here he is winning America's biggest horse race for 3-year-olds, America's biggest event. Calvin Burrell doing it 2 years in a row, 2 days in a row. This is like Casey's Shadow. If anybody's ever seen the great quarter horse movie, Casey's Shadow, Rags to Riches, this is it. The Louisiana boys make it big, and Calvin is a true horseman himself. You know, I've been watching the races here the last 4 days, Tom, and horses that were right on top of the rail. Calvin Burrell found this place, but I mean right on top of it, there was a bias there, and if you weren't right on top of the rail, you needed to be about 5 or 6 lengths wide of this inside rail. Well, nobody was on top of that spot. That's Calvin's place. It's always Calvin's place. He took advantage of it, and that is an excited man.
What a scene.
50 to 1.
One of the most well-liked jockeys in the jockey's room. Has not one enemy in there, and that's tough to say after all the years that he's been riding.
High fives from all the people at the track. The fans applauding him.
Loosen that girl. Loosen that girl.
Roll the head, Dave. You changed it, you see me right. How you see me right?
He like it, don't he? Yeah, it's in the park, baby. Hey.
Well, I hope his trainer Benny Woolley can make it to the winner's circle with those crutches and that shattered leg.
There's something going on right now that I have never seen here at the Kentucky Derby in my years. Very reminiscent of the movie Seabiscuit, where he came down and paraded in front of the fans. Normally they come back and directly onto the turf course and then into the winner's circle. Maybe they're waiting for his trainer to be able to get across the racetrack.
with the crutches.
He's letting the crowd enjoy the horse.
Well, the last time that Calvin Burrell won the Derby on Street Sense, he had dinner with the Queen. What do you think's in store for him now? I don't know. Let's go down to Kenny Rice with the trainer, Benny Willie, on crutches.
Oh, I tell you, Tom, when we walked over, Chip, it was an interesting story. You drove about 1,700 miles. You're on crutches because of a motorcycle wreck, and you had a 50-to-1 shot that was a nice story. Now it's a story that even Hollywood wouldn't believe, but obviously you had a pretty good idea.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I just can't say enough. You know,
he doesn't know.
A feeling like I've never had before.
Well, what were you feeling as they turned and you saw your horse, about $9,500, coming down there with millionaires and other graded stakes winners?
I was thinking Calvin Burrell's the best. He rode a huge race, and everybody around me done a great job, and we were just lucky to get here.
Coming out of New Mexico, a lot of people didn't know about you, didn't know about your horse. You have made quite a statement here, one of the biggest upsets ever.
They'll know me now, won't they?
How long did it take to get here, Chip, in that drive?
Oh, it was about, I don't know, 21 hours, but that's no matter. You know, maybe now somebody will talk about something other than the drive here. Thanks.
Do you fly home now?
No.
All right, good luck. Congratulations. His horse is coming in. He wants to get over there and celebrate some more, guys.
And I don't blame him. 21 hours with a broken leg, hauling a horse and a trailer from New Mexico. Calvin Burrell, the first jockey since Jerry Bailey in 1993 to win the Oaks and the Derby the same year, with Dispute and Sea Hero in Bailey's case, and with Rachel Alexandra and Mind That Bird in the case of Calvin Burrell. Pioneer of the Nile finished second in the race. Musket Man was third, and running fourth was Papa Clem.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thanks a lot.
You're a good guy.
Yeah,
oh, no problem. All right.
Mind That Bird, wearing the garland of roses, a 3-year-old gelding by Birdstone, out of Mining by My Own by Smart Strike, bred in Kentucky by Lamantia, Blackburn, and Needham Betts Thoroughbreds. How'd he do it?
There's Mind That Bird. He had one horse outrun in the picture, going in the turn, comes around. One horse there, weaves his way back inside. He was watching his video of Street Sense last year, I think, before he went out there, and I'm going to tell you, that was a tight hole that he went through, but he went through there so fast. It's like I was talking before the race, when the hole's open, you've got to have luck, but you've got to have a horse that will burst through them, because they don't stay open very long.
That's what you said way back earlier in the show. The race within the race. Got to have luck, but you got to have the horse. And obviously, Mind That Bird was the horse today.
He was in his own race. There was another race going on, but it was for second place, because he had put the field away well inside of the 16th pole and just drew off. But tight finish for second place.
And did that look familiar? Well, 2 years ago, Calvin Burrell again threading through traffic and snugging that rail on Street Sense.
Now this move here, very reminiscent, but as he had approached the 8th pole today, they're just winding into the stretch right now. There's still 3/16 of a mile to race in this particular race. At this point right now, in today's race, he was still on the rails, had 3 horses that he had to fight his way inside of to get the job done.
Well, that was the scene 2 years ago, and here he is in 2009. Thinking of his mom and dad.
Thank you, man.
And back live as the congratulations continue for the popular Calvin Burrell. Still haven't posted the prices. It can't be official till he weighs in there. The order of finish, however, look at the margin of victory. Wow. Mind That Bird over Pioneer of the Nile, Musket Man, Papa Clem, Chocolate Candy in 5th. Summerbird joining the dance. Regal Ransom, Westside Bernie, General Quarters, the Cinderella story. Didn't pay off for Tom McCarthy. Dunkirk, who stumbled at the start of the race. Hold Me Back, Advice, Desert Party, Mr. Hot Stuff, Atomic Rain, Nowhere to Hide, Frisian Fire, The Favorite, and Flying Private. Instead, it's Mind That Bird that wins only at the Kentucky Derby. Thanks to the MetLife blimp for providing today's dramatic coverage of the Kentucky Derby. MetLife has the protection you need for the most important ifs in your life. Visit MetLife.com today. Well, Mind That Bird being led back to the stable area at Churchill Downs after pulling a gigantic upset in the Kentucky Derby.
And Dunkirk, this is the only horse I really saw have any kind of excuse early on or throughout the race. It was pretty clean. He stumbles leaving here, and he stumbles hard right there about the third jump, down to his knees, gathers himself up, but gets shuffled back a little at this point. Your number 8 horse, your winner, Mind That Bird, White here. Watch him get squeezed coming out at the start here. Might have helped this horse in the long run. He's been laying close to the pace. Calvin says, well, you want to squeeze me? I'll just take back, head for the fence, and he's going to do it pretty quick. And this horse, he wants to show more than what Calvin's letting him. He gets him relaxed. See him way back in the field right there. Highlighted, making that beautiful run. And I really don't need to say anything here. It's self-explanatory, Tom.
It is, and of course, the Calvin Burrell seeking the quickest way home, skimming the rail. Here's where he just gets inside as they come off the fence just a little bit. He gets inside him, and then the horse just explodes.
He just explodes at that point, and I believe that was Summer Berg that he passed right there at the 16th pole when he made that big run. And I bet you his young rider, Chris Rozier, was shocked.
And let's take a look at our Cannon photo finish. Here's a look at Mind That Bird, who got through at about the 8th pole in the final 16th of a mile. He accelerates away. And Calvin Burrell with another Derby celebration. He has 2 wins in 3 years and was 3rd last year on Dennis of Cork. Mind That Bird owned by the Double Eagle Ranch, Mark Allen and Buena Suerte Equine, Leonard Block, winning the Kentucky Derby. Back with the presentation and the payoffs when we return to Churchill Downs. Back at Churchill Downs, where Mind That Bird has pulled off the 2nd biggest upset in Kentucky Derby history, exceeded only by Donerail back in 1913. He pays $103, as you see. The Exacta pays $2,000, the Trifecta $41,000, the $2 Superfecta $557,000.
All right, thanks, Bob. Calvin Burrell, another unbelievable ride. Chip Woolley, that's an unbelievable scenario. You were just telling Calvin, you saw him for a while and then you lost him. You couldn't find out where he was.
Yes, when they turned for home, I quit watching the camera and looked up down the lane, and I saw him start outside, and then he got lost behind some horses, and I couldn't see him, and then he swung to the fence, and I looked up at the 8th pole, and he was already right at the lead. I was just blown away.
Everybody was, and Calvin, you own that rail. You just tell us about the move that you made. You were far back, and it really take us through the replay.
It was a street sense move, you know. I mean, Carl Nastrom showed me this, and he said, son, this is how you ride horses. And I learned by street sense, being so patient with these 3-year-olds. They can only go so fast, so far. And and I sat back and had a good trip, and when I hollered at him, he just went on.
But Calvin, how did you make it through that last hole? It didn't look like there was any room there at all.
Yeah, they had enough room. He's a small horse.
What were you thinking, Chip, when you saw him go through that hole on the inside like that?
Well, actually, that's about where I picked him up, so I wasn't surprised any at all. But when he got smashed leaving there and bounced to dead last, he comes by here back. I'm thinking, boy, I'm going to make a good showing in my first Derby. But Calvin did a great job, put us where we needed to be.
You did make a good showing in your first Derby. There's no doubt about that. And it was just an absolutely amazing effort. Congratulations. A great job training this horse. Yeah, something else?
Yes, I'd like to say thank you to Mark Allen and Dr. Block for giving me this opportunity. And a guy named Dave Cody in Canada is the guy that really qualified this horse to be here, and he deserves a lot of credit.
An emotional win. Chip? That's great, Calvin. Great ride. Tom, back to you.
All right, Mike, mind that bird. Not even yet officially 3 years old. May 10th is his foaling date. Mind that bird wins the Kentucky Derby.